All right, we are live. Okay, hello everybody out there, and welcome to a very special Cowabunga edition of That Film Podcast. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Um, and I'm your host, David Weaver, and joining me as usual are Brian Salazar and James Blunt. And if you couldn't have already guessed, we are reviewing this week the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. And as well as I will be discussing a few other films, including Into the Storm, and quite possibly some thoughts on the Sharknado sequel. So stay tuned for that. But yeah. Without further ado, we can move into our first segment, which is the top 12 films of the week. So, Brian, have at it, sir.
Sure. Start the top 12 of last week. Music. Number 12 last week with 2.1 million is A Most Wanted Man. Okay. Number 11, The Purge Anarchy with 2.2 million. Number 10, Planes, Fire and Rescue with 2.4 million. And since James wants to know the total there, it's 52.9 million. Number 9, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes with 4.3 million. Number 8, Get On Up with 5.1 million. I don't know if you could say that phrase any other way. Number 7, Hercules with 5.7 million total there, because again, James wants to know. 63.5 million.
And the production budget is 100 million, so that's a certified bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it can make some money back overseas.
Yeah, possibly.
Number 6, Step All In with 6.4 million. Dave, did you see this?
I did not.
Wow. That's your first missed Step Up movie.
Actually, not. I mean, I never saw any of them in the theater except for the Revolution one last year. So.
Okay, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, too. I just tell you what I watched this past week since I've been kind of sitting at home most of the time.
Okay.
Pitch Perfect.
Oh.
Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
Did you like it?
No. I thought it was pretty lame.
So
it's
you're
pretty much... Go ahead.
You're not looking forward to the sequel.
Oh, there's a sequel coming?
Yes.
Yeah, well... Yeah. I don't know who that big blonde woman is, but she's annoying to me.
Rebel Wilson.
Yeah, it's kind of... I don't know. Talk about the actor who plays the same character every movie.
She's one of those people, just like Melissa McCarthy, who had, well, Melissa McCarthy had actually been around for a little bit, but she got really popular from Bridesmaids. So.
Yeah, it just, I mean, it was in that Step Up, that's why I'm bringing it up. It's kind of in that Step Up, Glee kind of genre. It's Glee in college. That's pretty much what it is. / musical.
What made you see it? What prompted you to see it?
It was on HBO, and people keep talking about it as it was pretty surprisingly good. And like Dave said, that I guess there's a sequel, so it's probably a good reason why to see it. But yeah, it wasn't too great.
You didn't like the DJing, rapping Anna Kendrick?
Yeah, and then that song that she does with the cup, I didn't realize that was it for her, and that song became super popular afterwards. So it was just kind of interesting. I didn't know Anna Kendrick could sing, so that's another thing. And then the other cool thing too, James, is Lana from WWE is in that movie.
What?
Lana, the Russian.
I know what you said. I understood the words.
Yeah,
I don't understand the concept.
She plays a singer on that movie, and she's a brunette in the movie.
And does she have a Russian accent?
No. So I hate to tell you this, James, but that accent is fake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thanks. I would have never known.
I don't want to spoil that illusion for you.
Breaking news right now on That Film Podcast.
And by the way, that Lana girl is dating Rusev in real life.
I know.
So there you go.
That's ridiculous.
Number 5, Lucy with 9.4 million. Number 4,
I
a
forgot we were
100-foot.
doing the top 12.
What?
Go on.
I'm trying to finish it up. The 100-foot journey with 10.9 million. Don't know what that is. But you don't need to tell me. Number 3, Into the Storm with 17.3 million. Number 2, Sharknado 2 with 176. No, just kidding. Guardians of the Galaxy with 42.1 million. And number 1, and probably the most disappointing outlook of our society today, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with 65.5 million.
So that, I mean, I guess that answers our long-standing question, right? Like, who is this movie made for? It's like, apparently a lot of people.
Well, it was a kid movie.
No. I disagree with that. It's promoted as a kids movie.
Right.
I don't think it is.
Well, I'm not trying to do spoilers for the review. I'm just saying it's promoted as a kids movie. Kids went to go see it. I'm assuming there was a bunch of kids in your theater.
No, there weren't.
Yeah, there were about, it was about average for me.
Yeah. So kids would
In
rather
fact,
see.
now that you mention it, I don't remember seeing children in the movie.
What time did you see the movie at, James?
1:40?
11 p.m. Exactly.
No, 1:40.
Oh, a.m.
Yes, 1:40 a.m. No, 1:40 in the afternoon.
Don't make me laugh. It hurts. Damn it. Ah. Yeah. Did you guys, by the way, get those special 3D glasses?
No, I didn't. I did not want to see this in 3D. I wanted to pay as little money as possible to see this.
So you snuck into it?
No, I just went to a place that had a cheap price for it.
And by James' reaction, he didn't pay for it at all and sneaked into it? Got it.
Why do you assume that? No, I went to a 3D showing.
Did you get the glasses?
There were not special glasses.
Did I tell you how much Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made? I think so, right?
Yeah, 65.
Okay, that's a top 12 for this week.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give James the money. I mean, congratulations, James, on your summer movie draft win.
So first of all, we don't know that yet.
I'm beating Dave now from what I last saw, and then you're still ahead by 10 million.
Wait, what's that?
Aren't you up by like 10?
No, he's up more than that.
Oh, exactly.
So, but you said you're beating Dave?
I'm not?
No.
Oh.
You have 980 million. Dave has 990 million.
Oh, okay, that's where the 10 comes from.
I have 1,129,000,000. So I'm up on Dave by about 140 million.
Who has more movies left?
Let's see. I have Let's Be Cops and The Giver. Dave has Expendables 3 and Sin City.
Ooh.
Brian, your last two movies were both postponed.
Yay.
You had Jezebel and The Loft, and they've both been postponed.
And those were from our second pool of movies where those were the leftovers. Yeah, the ones that nobody wanted to bid on. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to say, James, that the two surprise ones that are pulling this out for you are Lucy and so far the Turtle movie.
You think Turtles is a surprise at 65?
Yes, I was expecting pretty much what the studio had was projecting, which is around between 30 to 40 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was a surprise. The studio, this is like almost 30 million more than the studio was expecting to get.
See, I see Let's Be Cops as a potential surprise for me. And yeah, Lucy, I made off like a bandit with that one. But I mean, Lucy doesn't overcome your The Fault in Our Stars, which is at about 123 million right now.
Yeah.
Brian and I didn't even bid on that, so you skated away with one credit.
Yeah, and Brian, I mean, you still got, I'd say, at least another 75 million in Guardians coming your way. I think that's going to reach 250, no problem.
It better be number one this week.
I'm with Dave. I think Guardians hits 250 without any problem. I mean, it's at 175 in its second week. That's actually a better pace than most of the other movies this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
it should pass 200 million this weekend.
Right. Amazing Spider-Man topped out at 202. And where's Maleficent right now? Maleficent's at 236, which is more than X-Men at 232. So this is probably going to be the biggest movie of the summer. Where's Transformers? Let's see.
It's 240.
Transformers is at 242 right now. So yeah, Guardians is probably the biggest movie of the summer, Brian. You picked that up.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's not enough.
It really depends. I mean, I don't know. Unless Let's Be Cops is a surprise, because The Giver and If I Stay are not probably going to go any more than like 20 to 30 million. I'm guessing.
Oh, If I Stay, I'm not hoping for anything from that.
Yeah.
I'm really honestly looking at Let's Be Cops just to give me enough to hold off any surge that you're going to have from Expendables and Sin City.
Mm-hmm.
Because where it stands, like I said, right now today I'm 140 million ahead of you.
Yeah.
And so you need those two movies to make a combined 140 just to catch where I am today.
Oof.
And then
that's a tall order.
Right, and then Turtles is going to continue to make money, so you're going to have to keep pace with that. And then Let's Be Cops is going to hopefully make some money, and I don't know what The Giver's going to do.
Man, this is the time when we do the draft, when those movies, those small movies that we don't really pay much attention to, really come into light about why you should pay attention to the smaller movies.
Right.
Because it's gonna come. Sometimes it's gonna come down to those. Oh man, it's crazy.
So I really feel that next weekend we will know who the winner is. Because let's say Let's Be Cops doesn't do anything, then I'm in trouble.
Which it might be in third place though.
What's that?
It might open in third.
Right. And if Guardians can just hold on to what it's doing right now, then it can set Brian up to be in a good spot. Because again, this is the movie that's a little bit different than the other blockbusters. It's holding on a little better. It's got a little more longevity. It's a little stronger. If it can just hold its position, then Brian can creep up there. He could definitely catch you, Dave, and then he would be a threat to me.
Yeah.
So that's it for the draft. It'll be more interesting next weekend.
Yeah. I want to say that there we actually had a number of movies that we didn't get to put on the draft because a lot of them were like late additions to August. Just like we had movies move off the August list, we had a lot move on. So there's going to be a number in there that probably could have made a difference had we known about them, but oh well.
By the way, does anybody know if Channing Tatum showed up in Step All In?
He did not.
Okay. Anybody check IMDb and see if he's there?
Well, I know on the when the people from Step Up were doing the circuit, on the morning news shows, they said that Channing Tatum is not in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of messed up by Channing Tatum, right? You should just show up, a cameo.
He could have done a walk-on or something
Exactly.
at the very least.
Because
that's the movie that started him.
It supposedly has the stars from all of the other Step Up movies, except Channing Tatum.
Yeah, and the girl that was in the first one, I believe, was his wife. So they could have easily both showed up.
Oh, she didn't show up either?
I have no idea, but I'm figuring if one didn't show up, the other one definitely didn't.
Or is it one of those Fast and Furious things where the first one's really the last one?
That would be awesome if they started getting into convoluted territory like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. We need more like subpar franchises that have completely like insane timelines that nobody cares about.
Hey, Brian, you know the movie that really messed you up in the draft was the Fluffy movie. That movie, you paid 4 credits for it, and it's not making anything.
I was hoping for comedy gold. It was a funny movie, though.
You saw it?
No, I'm just kidding. Who the hell sees that crap?
You're the one who thought it would be comedy gold.
Oh.
So what's our next segment?
News.
We could go into the news. Do we want to talk about the big news before we get into our usual news here? Or do we want to do that after the fact?
We should start off with it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming anybody listening to this by this point knows that yesterday it was reported that actor slash stand-up comic Robin Williams passed away, and yeah, I guess we're gonna talk about that for a little bit here. I don't know about you guys, but my first reaction was shock, mainly because like it's just he's one of those names that just I don't know. I mean, nobody's immortal, but it's one of those people that just never occurred to me this is going to die someday, even though of course they are, and then you find out the reasoning behind the death, and it makes it even that much more shocking. So I don't know.
I did believe. I had in the back of my head that Robin Williams was going to be one of those guys that we get to see as an old crotchety comedian, like an 85-year-old telling the one-liners. You get the sense that he's still got it. He's still kind of sharp or whatever. And
Don Wrinkles.
Yeah, kind of like that. But the old guy that everybody gives respect to. Everybody says that he influenced their career. I thought that we were going to have that with Robin Williams. And the thing is that we all knew, or I suspected most of us knew, that he has and had an ongoing substance abuse problem. I remember the very first time that I saw him on The Tonight Show, and that was with Johnny Carson. And, like, I knew hardly anything about drugs, but I was like, this guy is on coke. Because, like, that manic stuff that he does, or that he did. I don't see how that wasn't brought to light even earlier than it was. But all of that substance abuse and stuff was to hide. A lot of these guys have demons, and they talk about he had depression. It's not like when you get your feelings hurt and you get depressed over it. Like, people who have depression have a real mental illness, and like it's a real condition, and it's more traumatic than a person who doesn't have that can actually fathom or imagine. And I guess it finally got to him, and he ended up committing suicide. And I know that Brian has like a different take on this, so I'll let Brian go from here.
No, I think it was sad for what happened and everything that he went through. I knew, like you said, it was obvious and well known that he had a drug addiction issue way back in the day. What, Mork and Mindy, they even said he was started back then?
Yeah, it was back then.
Which was the first main thing, so he was kind of always there. Then it kind of went away, and then even before his death, I think like less than a month ago, people were starting to talk about that part.
Well, he went back into rehab.
Yeah.
And they were saying it was just kind of a maintenance thing. I've learned a lot of these guys say, I'm just going to rehab for maintenance. I think that means you fell off the wagon.
Yeah. And it's just that for somebody that to go through all those issues, and it's definitely a mental disorder of what's happening with you. Basically, I mean, you don't think anything could ever be good, but at the same time, I come from the mindset that you do your best not to get to that point of committing suicide, and I'm pretty sure that he was taking drugs or doing whatever during the same time frame as well. So that doesn't help the situation when you have those issues. And if he's drinking and everything else included, it doesn't make you think right.
But see, part of it is like the Kurt Cobain thing, where Kurt Cobain was in pain, and because of the pain, he took drugs. It's not. A lot of people think that like you took the drugs and then you messed yourself up, and that's what causes the emotional and physical pain that you have. But some people have the pain to start with and are trying to self-medicate to alleviate that pain.
But we don't know from Ron Williams' point of view. I don't know about Kurt Cobain, what he had, but Ron Williams, did he have that same issue?
Well, Kurt Cobain had physical pain, and he knew from his father that, like his father said, this will last through your 40s. And Kurt Cobain finally said, well, F that.
Right. I don't know. It seems like a bad way to go out, and something that definitely wasn't needed. But
it's even weird.
I just have a harder time commending the guy and saying, how much, great he was when he did something like that to himself. Not just the suicide part, but the drugs and alcohol and everything else that led to these issues. And if it comes out later on that he had pain or something over it, then okay, maybe that's a little different. But that hasn't came out at all.
For Ron Williams, I'm not talking about physical pain though. I'm talking about mental health issues that he had.
Yeah.
And that's what drove him over the edge. And I mean, it's easy to throw stones at people who have substance abuse problems, but like there's very few people who have never taken a drink, and there's a portion of our population who that very first drink sends them into addiction. Like the first drink sends them into like having a drink every day, which leads to having benders, which leads to full on addiction. And you don't have the same biology that other people have, so it's not easy to say, well, you should have controlled this.
And soon they'll be like mixing their drinks with Skittles and shit like that. It's crazy.
Oh,
it's delicious, trust me.
And let's not forget that what James was just talking about is exactly what happened to Philip Seymour Hoffman earlier this year. So, of course, he didn't go to wasn't suicide, but it still led to his death.
Exactly, yeah.
It was suicide in an unintentional way.
So, but yeah, I mean, just growing up, like he was like such an integral part of my life because I grew up in a family that loved to watch movies, and it's just from his stints on Saturday Night Live, his stand-up comic stuff, it's like he was like one of the primary figures out there, especially for like actors that transition from comedy to drama and back and forth. Like he's one of the integral actors out there to like get that and like be able to work both sides of the coin. From stuff like Good Morning Vietnam and whatnot, and he's also, he pioneered a lot of stuff, but most notably for me was like he was the one that made famous the idea, or made popular idea of like a named celebrity doing a voice for a character in an animated feature with Aladdin, and it's just the guy did so much like great work. It's just really sad that he's not going to be around to do any more. I don't know. But
and I saw something earlier this morning on the morning news. The comedian Christopher Titus was talking about Robin Williams, and he was saying that because to hear a comedian talk about another comedian, it gives you more perspective. And he was saying that Robin Williams was one of his primary influences for the simple reason that at a time when comedians were like standing on stage and telling joke after joke, kind of like a Richard Pryor or any Eddie Murphy, any of those guys. Robin Williams was kind of deconstructing jokes, and he was kind of making fun of comedy itself and at other comedians without naming people, right? Like he had a different take on comedy that was more like observing, and was the standard bearer for how comedians are now. Because almost every comedian now is doing that like observant type of comedy. And like that made me take a step back and think about it, and it is kind of true. When I think about that time period and what other comedians were doing, and Robin Williams was doing something completely different. Like there was, it made me think like there was Robin Williams and there was Andy Kaufman and then there was everybody else, because everybody else was doing the same type of thing, and these two guys were doing something very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a person who didn't particularly like his frenetic like stand-up, but you mentioned Aladdin. When he adapted that to the character of the genie, I thought it worked flawlessly. Like that was a perfect character, and you can't even imagine anyone else doing it because he made that character like his own, to the extent that when you go to Disneyland and they have like the Aladdin stage show there, whoever the actor is who plays the genie, he plays Robin Williams playing the genie. So yeah, it was really I don't know.
Just to support your point, just just watch the first Aladdin and watch the direct-to-home video sequel, Return of Jafar, where they had a different voice actor at the time, and the voice actor they got was the guy that does the voice for Homer Simpson, and the genie sounding like Homer Simpson was just crazy. But yeah, you're exactly right. It's just nobody else could do that. But I don't know. And just like Philip Seymour Hoffman, also, despite us losing Robin Williams, he has like 3 or 4 more films that are actually due out here in the near future. So we're going to be seeing him in theaters probably for the next year or so.
Right.
So.
Yep, Night at the Museum 3 and Hunger Games, which is weird.
Is he in the Hunger Games, really?
No, what's his name? Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, it's like, that is weird.
He was in the trailer, Seymour Hoffman, of the Hunger Games.
Yeah, he was, yeah. Yeah. So, crazy. But okay, I guess we can move on to our regular news, which is definitely going to seem a lot more insignificant now after that. So, but
let's try to change gears here.
Yeah,
that was really somber and depressing.
A little bit.
So, in our first news story from ScreenRant.com, actor Taylor Kitsch, star of recent phenomenal box office flops John Carter, Battleship, and Savages. Yeah, have those movies made $50 million combined?
I have no idea.
So he has officially been offered the lead role in the long gestating remake of the martial arts epic, The Raid.
Oh. Dude, so James has my Plex account information.
Why are you going to say this?
And he has yet to watch Raid or Raid 2, which are definitely for him there. And I bet you money, okay, not money because he'll just do it in spite of me, that he's going to see the English version before he sees the Japanese version or the Indonesian version.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it now. The last time I tried to log on to your Plex account, it your account wasn't there anymore. So you need to like give me access again or something, or like
No, it's there. It's just quite off because I'm tired of
that's what I
waiting.
mean. You didn't have it on.
Well, by the way, I left it on for about a week and a half when I told James about it.
Well, turn it back on.
It's on.
I was looking for movies to watch and had to go to Redbox.
Oh my goodness. Well, to the point of the story here, it's been known for a while that that the filmmakers or the studio is gonna go in a different direction with the remake. They're not gonna try and make it a martial arts film. There's still gonna be an action film, but it's not gonna be heavily based with martial arts. And them reaching out to Taylor Kitsch, who, despite having a horrible filmography as far as like box office returns go, is he is a decent actor. So I mean, but he is by far nowhere near what you would expect for like a remake of a martial arts film. So
that guy needs to choose a film that's a guaranteed success right now. He's in serious danger.
They're trying really hard. Whoever his agents are, I mean, they're trying really hard to keep him relevant.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to do he needs to be in Star Wars or something, or Transformers.
I hope not. Oh God.
Something that's a guarantee to make money, so people can't say his movies don't make money, and then they have an excuse not to bring him in.
He already did Transformers. He was in Battleship. That was basically Transformers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just like I was saying, just this move signifies that they are definitely going in a different direction with this remake. So, part of me is kind of happy they're not going to be mimicking exactly what the first movie did, because that way there won't be too much like comparison between the two. I don't know, but yeah. James, this story would only really affect you if you had actually seen those other movies yet. But I'm assuming at some point here in the near future you're going to be seeing them, and then as you watch it, you can kind of think to yourself, how would Taylor Kitsch do in this role? So,
In our final story tonight, from GeekTyrant.com, legendary animation filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki may come out of retirement to make a short film for the Studio Ghibli Museum located in Mitaka, Tokyo.
yeah.
I got excited when I saw out of retirement. Short film got me less excited, and then located in Mitaka, Tokyo. That's
Just wait till it's on YouTube. Someone's gonna film it.
right, exactly.
I was just wondering. I mean, this news of him for him coming so shortly after the news about the state of Studio Ghibli, just wondering, like, coincidence, or are they trying to like save face somehow? I don't know. But I mean, the fact that he's making something for the museum doesn't exactly, I don't know. I don't know how that's like a benefit to them, but
right. It's almost not even newsworthy.
It isn't, but I figured I'd throw it in there anyways, because there may be like overblown news stories, headlines out there like Miyazaki comes out of retirement. It's like, oh my goodness. And it's just setting the record straight. He is not making another film. He is doing a short film for the museum.
Well, I mean, the hope would probably be that maybe this will kind of get his toe back in the door, and then maybe he can get attached to another project.
Yeah, maybe. But, yeah. That's... Yeah, I don't know. But...
And that concludes the news.
Yes, it does. Which, we can move into our other stuff here. James, you said that before we get into our actual movies, you said there was a couple other things that you caught at home recently, that you wanted to talk about.
Well, I will go into those, but you guys were going to talk about a certain.
Oh,
You haven't seen it yet?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. But I'll
So
give you
okay,
guys a chance to speak for a while.
okay. Well, the film that James is so ominously um, hinting towards here is Sharknado 2, the biggest film of the summer according to Sci-Fi Channel. Um, we briefly discussed it last week, but I hadn't seen the entire thing at that point, but I've seen the whole thing now, so all three of us have seen it, so we can openly discuss its absurdities. Um, aside from the obvious, Tara Reid being horrible and, the effects being crappy, which both I think were expected. I don't know. Does anybody have anything else to bring up about it? I mean, James, I remember you mentioning last week that you thought it was actually better than the first one.
Well, that's all I was about to say again. Is I think it's a better movie than the first one, and I enjoyed it. And I mean, yes, Sci-Fi is crowing, but it's their biggest rating ever, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a franchise now.
Do you
Yeah.
think people actually tuned in thinking it was awesome?
Wait, what?
Do you think people tuned in not knowing that it was going to be a crap? Or do they think that there are people out there that thought, greatest movie this summer, people talking about it, I need to see this?
Oh, you mean first-time viewers, people who had never been exposed to the first Sharknado?
Right.
Well, first of all, if your channel is on, if you type in your remote and you purposely go to the Sci-Fi Channel, you should not expect the best of anything on there. So that already should level your expectations.
Well, how
And
about if
then-
you've never gone to Sci-Fi ever in your life?
Oh boy, then you're in for a treat.
Okay. Well, at least it only lasts like 30 seconds till you realize, but...
I think that they had a fine balance that they had to strike here, because of course the first one was bad, but
They were trying to make it serious.
Yeah, they. I mean, this is always going to be a mystery forever when it comes to bad films that are made. Did they intentionally make it bad, or were they trying to make a good movie and it just turned out bad? And whatever process they went through with that first film, if they did try to make a good movie and it just ended up becoming ridiculously bad, although anybody trying to make a good movie when the name of your movie is Sharknado, good luck. The sequel, it all of a sudden has expectations on it, and if you try to make it a legit movie again and actually try to put it in a budget and if you tried to make it a real movie, I think you would actually let fans down that were fans of the first film. And I think that they struck a good balance here by making it absurd and like ratcheting up the level of absurdity in it without actually trying to make it I don't know, better. So to speak.
Well,
I don't know.
My feeling about it is that about that original Sharknado movie, I think that as they were producing it, they realized what was happening. Like, it was getting crappier and crappier, because the story is that originally the title was supposed to be Dark Skies, and that's what Tara Reid and Ian Ziering signed up for, was to star in Dark Skies. And then they started filming, and they were like, "Oh, we have we have a title change."
Can you imagine showing up on the set and you see the new title?
Well, they had a title change, and it was something else, right? It was like, Twist or something, right? And then they were like, "Oh, okay." And then, like, another week later, they come in and they go, "Oh, we're changing the title again, and this time it's Sharknado." And Tara Reid said, at that moment, she said, "Oh my God, my career's over."
Well, what?
Because
What career?
yeah, exactly. But she was like, I just walked into this thing that's going to be horrific, and that this is what I'm going to be known for.
Or did she say, "Oh no, my plastic surgery is it's paid for already"?
Oh no, I need to get more.
Girl, what the hell did she do to her face?
She got old. That's what happened.
Oh my
She got old and she tried to fix it.
Yeah.
So.
And fix it.
Yeah,
And fix it.
yeah. Hey, you mean you go back to like the Big Lebowski when she played Bunny Lebowski, and yeah, she was really cute in that. But man, I don't know.
She can't close her mouth anymore. At least that's what my wife said. And
I would believe it.
She. God. And she wasn't that bad of an actress being young. I mean, she was okay, but unless they're really telling her to be a bad actress in this movie, I don't know.
Well, that's because back in the early days, she never really had a starring role. Those other movies was like ensemble cast type things, and then later on they tried to put her in starring roles, and that's when the curtains were pulled back, and we were like, oh shit.
On her face or on her acting?
Both.
Okay.
But
God.
yeah. But that's got to be. I would love to just to see the deer in headlights look that they had on their faces when they saw the title change to Sharknado. It's like, I mean, did they sign on without reading the script? Because that would be even better. It's like, oh, dark skies. Okay, this sounds eerie. That sounds okay. Good. Moody, atmospheric, and then next day, the production team rolls out promotional materials, hats and T-shirts with Sharknado on it. It's
You know what they
awesome.
should really do though? The next one, the Sharknado 3, is really make a great movie out of it.
Like actually make a legit movie.
Yeah, like you know how Pee Wee Herman's movie basically was. They made the real movie afterwards, and it was totally different from his real adventure.
Paging Mr. Herman.
You're right.
Mr. Herman.
Just do that, and just have the real awesome special effects, and it'd be great.
That would if sci-fi took the budget for the budgets for all their crappy movies and just threw it into a Sharknado 3 and released like a legit movie, that would be pretty funny and pretty awesome, I think. Because the comedy's there. I mean, the lead actor Ian Ziering, is that his
Ziering.
Ziering. I mean, I only know him, of course. I think everybody only knows him from 90210, Beverly Hills 90210. But he does a good job with playing it up. He clearly is in on the joke, and makes the movie fun to watch.
He's the Bruce Campbell of this generation.
I don't want to go that far, but he clearly is having a lot of fun with it, especially with the I mean, he was running all over the place promoting this film, and he never once let on that this movie is anything more than just being just one big silly romp, I guess. And that's even more evident through all the damn cameos throughout the entire movie. Especially what's her face is the news guys that keep popping up throughout it.
Yeah.
What I can't remember. I'm blanking on the names
Show.
for some reason. The Today Show, yeah. Those guys are clearly having a lot of fun reporting on Sharknado's moving in on New York. So they even got to stab a shark. I bet that was fun. So
I'm sorry they can't see.
Although
everything has to be digitized.
Although I gotta say, what the hell happened to Vivica A. Fox? I mean, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's like I go back and I look at Kill Bill, and I'm like, okay, and then I look at this, and it's like, did she age 30 years, within the span of 5 years or something?
Well, I was asking, who's that lady who ate Vivica A. Fox?
Well, now you know what happens when you say, well, what happened to Vivica A. Fox?
Oh my goodness, but I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I mean, I'm with James. Yeah, it was more entertaining than the first movie. It had a lot more stuff going on, and it's a lot more absurd, and I thought it was a lot more fun. But
I think I like part one a little bit better, though.
Wow.
So I like how it was kind of more taken serious, and it was so stupid at the same time.
Yeah,
Where this one
yeah,
was
okay.
just kind of like a lot of wink winks.
Yeah, and this one was not actually as bad as the first one. Like, you didn't get shots of like a tornado coming in the next scene, like there's like bright blue skies behind everybody. It's like it didn't have any of those production problems. Although they still, for some reason, sci-fi movies in general, they are unable to visualize a panic in a city. Like, every time you'd see our main characters in the city like fighting off these Sharknadoes, they would have, if you look in the background, like the public in New York or whatever is just walking down down the street like normal. Like there's like nothing going on. It's like, other than our main group of characters, like there's nobody else that's aware there's a Sharknado happening.
You mean like when the Statue of Liberty is rolling down the city uncontrollably?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
now explain to me how. Have either of you been to New York?
It's on a downhill slope, James.
But do you know how far the Statue of Liberty is from Manhattan itself?
The tornado was blowing it through the city.
It blew that big head like 3 miles, over 3 miles of ocean. And then it started rolling, and it had so much momentum that nothing could stop it.
It's a strong Sharknado.
And
James.
Manhattan's flat, so don't tell me anything about downhill.
Well, yeah, remember that was the time when the tornadoes are starting to get close together to form the massive Sharknado. Just kidding, I just threw that out there. Okay, let's move on. You have
Yeah, I
time to
think
see
so,
it, if
too.
not, whatever. Don't
Yeah.
see the other one that came out the same week with Sharktopus versus Piranadactyl or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I actually watched the majority of that.
Oh, that was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah.
You
All of their other shark movies are bad, like really bad.
No, this one they tried to train Sharktopus.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Bleach did to him, but whatever.
Uh,
That's how they were
awesome.
controlling by putting in bleach in the water.
It wasn't bleach, it was chlorine.
Or chlorine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Chlorine somehow settles them down, but let's not spend any more time on that. The last thing I want to say is it's revealing when you do a Google search of Sci-Fi Channel, and one of the results is the 10 least terrible Sci-Fi Channel original movies.
Perfect.
Anyway, let's move on.
So do you want to move into your stuff, James, or?
Sure. I'll just say real quickly, I saw a couple Blu-rays over the weekend. The first one is one that you already reviewed on this show, Dave. It's and it's a movie that I had been eager to see since it was released. Which was, I mean, it's not like it's a major, like an Oscar movie.
Okay.
It's the movie About Time.
Oh, yeah, that's a good movie.
I enjoyed that a lot. I will say you have to not think about the time travel too much, because I think you'll find plot holes if you think about the time travel.
I think they actually did a really good job. I remember watching it, and things I was thinking about, they would actually bring up and give an excuse or give a reason for. Or things I thought were plot holes were all of a sudden explained, like the whole thing with the children that you find out about at the end of the movie. It's like
they kind of don't even do that right, though. There's a problem.
Okay.
Because it shouldn't be birth; it should be conception that you're avoiding.
Oh. Yeah, now you're just getting scientific now. But yeah, go ahead about it.
but no, I said before we started the show, I just wanted to keep this really quick because you already reviewed this. I enjoyed the movie, and someone at work had recently asked me like, how many romantic comedies do you see? And I was like, not that many. And I saw this movie not really expecting romantic comedy. I saw this movie expecting kind of time travel and kind of like that, because the trailer shows the father who's what's the actor's name?
Bill Nye.
Nahi, right? I
Yeah.
I actually like that actor, and it shows him as the father explaining to the son that the men in our family can time travel. You have to
Mhm.
do the specific thing, and then you can travel within your life. And I thought that's mostly what it was going to be about, like him kind of screwing things up and then fixing them and stuff like that. But it's very much a romantic comedy. And as the whole package, I enjoyed it. I just like I said, I don't. I think you can't think about certain aspects of it too much. But
Mhm.
if you accept it as the movie that it is, I really enjoyed it and I recommend it.
Isn't it amazing that that movie came and went and nobody saw it?
Right.
It got released during the holidays. Like movies like that usually thrive during the holidays, but nobody saw it, and it had stellar reviews.
It's a good movie, and
Yeah,
it has good acting.
but nobody saw it. It's really
And
weird.
I feel like they made a great couple.
Hmm.
Everything about it, it was a good movie.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yep.
So, cool. I'm happy you saw it.
Mhm. And then the second movie that I saw, uh, I was eager to see this one also, just out of kind of a morbid curiosity.
Uh-oh.
Um, but don't make any assumptions. So the next movie I saw was Divergent,
Oh. Oh.
and I'm gonna say that Divergent is kind of what if um, you combine the Hunger Games with Twilight and Harry Potter.
It sounds horrible.
It sounds horrible, but the thing is, it's actually not bad. I did not hate this movie. In fact, I'll go so far as to say I liked it. Love it is a stretch. But the thing is, when the movie starts, like 10 seconds in, not yeah, practically 10 seconds in, you go, okay, this is going to be like an ongoing series. Because just the world that they set up, you're like they can't resolve anything in one movie. Um,
Yeah.
and basically, have you seen it, Dave?
No, I have not yet.
Okay. So basically, what the premise is that we're in another post-apocalyptic world. And I say another because we've seen this a lot recently. And actually, learning that they're going to remake Mad Max, we're going to see it even more. But we're in another post-apocalyptic world, and in this world, it seems like only Chicago uh, uh, exists. Like all the rest of the world is gone.
Hmm.
There's a wall around Chicago, and we're not quite sure what's on the other side of other side of the wall, which is kind of why I was thinking, like, well, there's part two, right? Look to see what's on the other side of the wall. But basically, you have this society that's very much like Hunger Games, in which the society is divided into segments,
Hmm.
and there's 5 segments, and this is the part that's very much like Harry Potter, because it felt like when they went to Hogwarts and they're divided up into the different schools.
Oh.
It felt like that because the segments are like there's one group of people um, who work the land and they're basically farmers. There's another group of people who are very logical. They never tell a lie. They're in charge of the courts. They're in charge of laws, stuff like that. There's another segment of people who are daredevils, and they're kind of the people who protect. They're like the police force or the army,
Mm.
and on and on. And so there's 5 of them, and you're born into one because obviously your parents are both part of one faction. So you're born into a faction, but when you become of age, you take a physical test. Like they take samples and stuff from you, and they tell you you are best suited for this other faction, but you can still choose whatever faction you want to go to.
Mm.
But once you make the choice, you're not allowed to change again. And if you wash out of that faction, then you become one of these like homeless people who have no faction.
It almost sounds like Gattaca too.
It sounds a little bit like Etika, yes. So it's
Yeah.
it's a hodgepodge of all these things, and it goes back to Hunger Games and Twilight and that stuff because the primary character is a young female, and she kind of has what I would call superpowers because when she takes the test, it turns out that she fits all of the factions, and that
Mm.
type of person is called a divergent, and divergents are actually killed. And so she
Mm.
has to keep that a secret. And the movie goes on from there. And I actually, like I said, I did not hate it. I enjoyed Divergent. Um, I was surprised because I had never been really exposed to that actress before. Her name is like Shailene Woodley or something like that.
Mhm.
I had expected her, since there was so much hype behind her. I had expected her to be like this young beauty, and she's actually a very average-looking girl, if you ask me.
Mm.
And maybe that is what makes her so kind of appealing, as more like an everyman. Um,
By the way, James, she was cast as Mary J. Watson in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
okay, so
And,
I'm
and then, and
just
then
absorbing that.
and she pulled out of the project, of course, because she didn't show up in the movie. But yeah, she
Right.
Well,
was
she didn't
originally
pull out of
cast.
it. They took her out.
Well, it's kind of a mixture because she was actually busy with the Divergent filming at the time, and they kind of just said like, okay, we're just going to cut the character entirely.
I thought they already filmed the
So,
scenes and everything.
they had filmed some scenes, yes. There's actually photographs of her on set.
Okay.
So James, let me ask you this.
Hmm.
So you said you liked the movie. You didn't love it or anything like that, but
I
you
liked it
know,
very much. Yeah, it's good.
did you like it enough to be on board for an entire series of films?
So you're saying, am I going to see Insurgent and Allegiant Parts 1 and 2?
Like, do you feel like it's good enough to warrant your time with those other films?
I
Like,
absolutely want to see Insurgent, which will be the next film.
okay,
And I mean, you can screw something up quickly. So it could be that by the time Insurgent ends, I don't want to. I'm done with it. Although I hung in there with Twilight, so I don't know. And Twilight only got worse and worse.
comically so.
So rate those movies then, James. Twilight, Hunger Games, and this one.
Oh, Divergent is better than both Twilight and Hunger Games. Now, Hunger Games 2, because you remember I did not like Hunger Games at all. Hunger
Yeah,
Games 2 I liked.
Yeah, none of us liked the first Hunger Games, but okay. So we're basing this off of the first films in the franchises.
Oh, the first films in the franchises. I really liked the first Twilight.
Oh.
I did.
Well,
I did.
that's what got James hooked on the series.
Right, that's what got me. And then, like,
Yeah, you're a 13-year-old girl.
okay, I thought it was well done.
Well, at least it kind of made more sense where they actually sparkled and had danger.
Exactly. All of the stuff that they threw away later, but it existed in the first movie. The first movie was much better than any other movies in the series. Yeah. Divergent. I actually see a future for Divergent, so maybe I like Divergent better.
Okay.
And the actress, Shailene Woodley, is significantly better than the actress in Twilight. Like, it's not even close. But I think you could say that about almost any actress.
A Rock is better than the actress in Twilight.
I think.
I was gonna say you could say that about almost any actress, save maybe Megan Fox, but we'll get into that.
Oh boy.
What? Spoilers. And I don't mean spoiling the movie. I mean she literally spoiled the movie. But anyways, okay. Were those the only two you had, James?
That's it. That's all I want to
Okay.
say.
Okay. I'm glad one of us finally saw Divergent, because that was one of the bigger movies that came out this year that none of us actually saw. So, I'm glad to get an opinion on it, and your what you had to say about it may actually nudge me in the direction of actually watching it now. So. But okay, I guess that's gonna lead me into my review for Into the Storm, which is our other tornado movie that was released this past week. So there's like a subgenre of films that kind of came about after. Well, some are. I guess they've always been kind of there, kind of like the weather / action films that have, I guess, kind of always been there, but it didn't really get popularized until like in the late '90s when Twister came out, which was the Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt film from back then. And then, of course, we have channels like Sci-Fi Channel that have taken that idea and just created like a movie empire of crap, of nothing but like weather-related action films. And you had other ones out there. I'm trying to think of them on the top of my head, but I'm having a difficult time now. But anyways,
well, for a long time, have been disaster films.
Disaster, yeah. I guess it falls into that also, but this is strictly like weather pattern type disaster. Like hurricanes and stuff like that. But anyways, getting into the movie, I was a fan of Twister. I liked Twister back when it came out. I accepted it for what it was basically a special effects driven showpiece. And it did what it set out to do really well. It was kind of like a thrill ride at the time. And I'd say even today, the thing gets played on television all the time, and even the effects work still holds up. The thing that doesn't hold up quite so well, of course, is like the storyline, which there really isn't any, and the performances in it were okay. But
Dave, let me interrupt and ask a question here.
Okay.
So I had planned to see this movie, and then at almost the very last second, I found out that it's found footage style, and that's when I said, "Tap, tap, tap, I'm out."
Why are you stealing my thunder here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Why are you stealing my tornado here? But in any case, okay, so I'll jump forward here. So yeah, I was a fan of Twister. So of course, Into the Storm, saw the trailers for it. It looked really cool, like the tornadoes and everything. But suspiciously, that's all we ever saw in the trailers were the tornadoes. Like you never saw people. You never saw people. Like there's no character stuff, anything. Not that that's what these movies should be sold on. But usually, when you get a trailer for a movie, you see an actual movie in the trailer, where this just looked like a bunch of like footage of tornadoes. So yeah, my girlfriend and I, we both were like, okay, we like the tornado stuff, weather, action, whatever. Let's go see it. And despite its really low review rating, I still wanted to go see it just on the idea maybe that I'll get some cool sequences with tornadoes and what have you. And as James just alluded to, is that this film is indeed a found footage film. And by that, of course, and I get I get so tired of having to explain found footage, mainly because I hate the genre so much. But basically, anyone out there that still doesn't know what found footage is, it's where the entire film is shown through the perspective of a camera or some sort of device, and not actually like a third party that's like most films are filmed, where it's just like viewing the action from afar. But in any case, yeah, and that aspect of it was really bothersome because, like usual, the shots of tornadoes, sometimes they cut and they do stuff with, like, you see, like, they show you like a wide shot and very lazily just place like a Channel 2 News logo on the bottom right corner to try and justify the fact that you get to see
Why
it
is
from
there a
that
camera
angle.
there? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, whatever. At least it's a better shot than what we have been getting. But aside from the really horrible idea of making this movie into found footage, the thing that really drowns it out are the characters. And the tornadoes don't even really make up for the really horrible characterizations and the actors and whatnot in this film, because I would say percentage-wise, my girlfriend disagreed with me on this, but she actually thought the number was lower for the tornado side of things. But I'd say you get about 70% people, 30% tornadoes. And that's really kind of crappy because the character side of things, like I said, is really horrible. You get these really bland and really uninteresting characters. You get the two teenage sons and their widower father, who happens to be the principal of the school that they go to, and they just so happen to be filming something for the time capsule for their school. And they have this little, there's the one brother that seems to be the favorite over the other, and one of the brothers has a crush on a girl, and they go out to some place that's dangerous to film something, of course, and they get caught up in the tornado chaos going on. You have that story, and then you also have the tornado chasers, who are basically I can't even think of anything to describe who they are. I mean, the main person in the tornado chasers that anybody would even recognize is the woman who played Lori on The Walking Dead. Rick's wife.
Right.
She's one of the main characters, and the only real character trait she has is that she's a mother. In this, you get a couple scenes with her talking to her daughter through a webcam or something like that, and other than that, there's no real personality there. And the same thing for the other people; they all have a strict character trait. Like that guy that's in the head of the storm chasers, he wants to get all this footage, no matter how dangerous it is. And then you have one of the camera guys is scared to do it, and the other guy is just there for the money, and there's just nothing there. There's no development. There's nothing, and the fact that they're on screen for so long makes it even worse. And then when the tornadoes do show up, they're so fleeting that when the visual and combined with the visual problems of it being found footage, just makes the entire film just kind of dull and lacking in any sort of energy, which any film having to do with tornadoes that pick up 757 jetliners off the tarmac and throw them around shouldn't be lacking in energy. I just found myself extremely bored with the film when it all said and done. It doesn't do anything particularly new. I think Twister did everything this movie did and did it a lot better, almost 15, 20 years ago. So it's really sad. I mean, you think with today's technology that they could make an update to something like Twister and make it exciting, but this movie proves that maybe isn't possible. Either that, or you just need to get better people to do it. I don't know. But and the visual effects side of things, my girlfriend actually said that she thought that Sci-Fi Channel stuff was actually better. And I was kind of on the fence about it, but I don't know. The visual effects were okay. So even if you're like a visual effects junkie, there isn't much for you in this movie, sadly. Uh, yeah, this is like an atypical August release from a studio. They're just dumping it out there, hoping that somebody will go out and see it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. It was pretty sad. I enjoyed Sharknado 2 much better.
So I'm not getting a clear feeling of like what is the exact story of this movie, and
There is no story.
is it about like this is a major cataclysmic tornado that you know like a
There,
category 6, where previously there had only been category 5s or something
mm,
something like that.
no, I mean there's some techno babble, about like the categories of the tornadoes as they're happening, and the fact that there's multiple ones showing up around. But um, other than the final tornado that shows up at the very end of the film,
So wait,
um,
let me stop you there. There's multiple tornadoes. This
yeah,
isn't
like
about a single event.
it is a single event, but there's multiple like weather patterns. I guess is how they said it, or something like that. Multiple cells, I
And
think is
is
what
it
they
about storm chasers at all?
The
Or is
storm
it just
chasers.
about people who got stuck in it?
It's about both, and they eventually all meet up together, and that they're stuck together. Like there's this entire subplot about the one of the brothers and this girl he's trying to hook up with being stuck underneath this debris that gets knocked out by one of the early tornadoes, and there, like I'd say 80% of the movie we're like flashing back to them from the tornado stuff, watching them trying to survive while the water's getting higher in their little section that they're stuck in.
Oh, I see.
And I can't tell you. I mean, that was like sleepy time for me. It's like I didn't care about anything. Like there's this huge scene with the brother. The guy is doing this testimonial towards his father because, of course, they had a fight before he left. So
Of course they did.
yeah. And I just turned to my girlfriend and I was like, "Is this scene really still going on?" Like I was just over it. But yeah, so you get that stuff, and then you get some of the tornado chaser stuff also, but none of it's interesting. It's just so bland, and I don't know. But yeah, they do have a huge tornado that shows up at the end that starts wiping all the stuff out of there. But that's so inconsistent because certain things get picked up and tossed with ease. Like I said, 757 jetliners get thrown all over the place. But yet, like this car that's got these like 6 inch like deep nails that get driven into the ground, which get driven into mud, mind you, is able to sit there and not get pulled around too much. So I don't know. It's just a bad movie. So
I'll accept that.
yeah, watch Sharknado more instead. But in any case, I think we should move on to something a little bit more positive, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna move into our main review for the week, which is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. James, you agree to go first on this one, so the floor is yours.
So I'm going to start out, and I'm going to say that I'm questioning if I was the right demographic to see this movie, because
black?
I mean, I'm ignoring it.
Of course, he would go there. You know that was coming.
The point that I was making is that I was aware of the original comic books, which were actually black and white comic books because they were independent comics. And they were edgy and they were like all of this. And everyone from the start kind of got disappointed because then you had the original movies, which were very campy, very much for children. You had the original TV series that I never watched, but again, I hear that it was very campy. And then more recently, you have a new TV series which people are taking a little more seriously. But I have not been familiar with any of that.
Mm.
So, like I've just on the surface been familiar with what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are and what the source material is and all of that. And I probably saw one of the original movies.
Mm.
Um, and so, as someone who's coming into this as almost a blank slate, I did not hate this movie. Um, I certainly hated aspects of this movie. And the primary aspect of this movie that I hated, and that is not too strong of a word, is Megan Fox. And it's not even related to her rant at the fanboys that she did last week, right? That we reported
Mhm.
on last week. It's not even about that. It's just that she adds nothing to this movie. It took me like maybe a day after I had seen the movie t- to recall the significance of the April O'Neil character in like the comic book and that original TMNT movie. Like Megan, not Megan, April O'Neil is a big deal in those movies, and she is she's kind of in the way in this movie, and I want to know if she has it in her contract that they had to reference that she is pretty 10 times because multiple times they keep saying, "Oh my God, you're so pretty. Oh, only a pretty girl would say that. Oh, you think that because you're pretty." Like, oh, just over and over about how pretty Megan Fox is, which got me to looking at her face and saying, "You know what? She's not that pretty. Of course, she's a pretty girl." And
And multiple and
go
multiple
ahead.
characters lusting after her.
Multiple characters lusting after and like ruining their lives to try to be with Megan Fox.
She's a
Yeah.
Shia character. She's the main focus of the movie when she shouldn't be.
Right, exactly. And it's like that got me to focus on her face. And I think I know Megan Fox as having just an awesome, spectacular body. But first of all, her body is not shown at all in this movie, and her face
No,
is not all that. What are you talking about?
there
Go
is
ahead,
one
Dave.
part of her body that is shown quite significantly in one shot
What is that?
when someone is leaning out of the door, the
Oh,
window.
that was the most eye-rolling scene in the movie. Okay, so Brian, what Dave is
I know
talking
they show
about,
her butt a lot, and they make a reference to her butt.
only in one scene though, like she's leaning over, she's
But it's
leaning
the
out
most
of a
obvious
window.
thing, the womanizing Michael Bay thing, even though Michael Bay didn't direct this.
In fact, didn't he get in a car wreck because he was looking at her butt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, so I mean, she is what? Okay, she is part of what's wrong with it. With the movie. I am a Will Arnett fan, and I feel like he was out of place in this movie. And I even feel like he cheapens the movie because, as much as I'm a fan of his, he's a TV actor. And I think he comes across as a TV actor. And he's great on TV. I mean, Arrested Development, forget about it.
Hmm.
But in this movie, it made me feel like I was watching a TV movie every time that I saw Will Arnett and his kind of his attitude, I guess, and what he brings to his character, and actually the fact that his character is there just to pine after Megan Fox.
And
Like
every one of
yeah,
his jokes,
Michelangelo.
every one of his jokes lands with a resounding thud.
Thud, thud, like crashing boom.
Yeah.
What I heard, I didn't see the movie, but what I heard is that a lot of the characters weren't even really didn't need to be there in the film at all.
Well, those
Yeah, I
two
mean,
for sure.
yeah.
Well, April Neal kind of has to be in it, but from what I hear, she was in it way too much.
The way that what James is saying, the way that they put her in the movie, she could have been excised from it.
Yeah.
April O'Neil should definitely be part of the turtle mythology or
Yes.
whatever, what have you, but not the way they did it in this movie.
Yeah, they got her in the movie and said you'll be the star of it, and she probably made sure that of it.
Yeah, then they actually went extra lengths to make her character, the April O'Neil character, even more significant by including
Oh
her
my god.
into the origin story of the Turtles.
Is
So
it true
that's
that
where
the
I was
turtles are
going
barely
with.
in it in the first 40 minutes of the movie?
I don't know about the first 40 minutes, but
That's overstatement.
30? 20?
I'd say about the 30-minute mark is when they finally are on screen consistently.
Right.
And this is an hour and 40-minute movie.
But understand
Yeah.
that the way that the turtles are introduced is first you only see them in the shadows. You only see like their silhouettes and stuff. You know that they're doing stuff, but you can't really see it because they're fighting the bad guys. But in dark places. So they introduce you to the turtles gradually. But the
I
next
thought I thought their introduction was actually handled well.
I did too. That's not the next place that I was going with this was what Dave just talked about was where April O'Neil is solely responsible. Well, can't say solely, but she is largely responsible for the Mutant Ninja Turtles existing.
Which is stupid and kind of a common thing now in movies where everybody has to tie in together with.
Everybody has to tie in. Like she went her whole life without knowing anything about this. And then she's the one who finds them, and it ties back into her history.
This is like the same the equivalent of like Lois Lane like discovering Superman, like as a baby.
As a baby, right? Like she was the one who found the spaceship.
Yeah,
Which she now does.
but
And so, but you take those things out. You take Megan Fox out. You take Will Arnett out. You talk about the turtles. I liked the turtles. They each have distinct personalities. You don't even need to I mean, obviously they have different weapons and they have different masks. You don't even need to pay attention to that to know which turtle is talking, because they're very different characters. And then the way that there is actually an origin story, which I didn't expect to get an origin story in this movie, and I know a lot of people are getting burnt out on origin stories.
what?
But there is an origin story, and I kind of went along with it. It take away that April O'Neil is involved in it, but the other parts of it, of the experimentation and what they were doing, I was kind of okay with that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Do
the
they
stuff
explain Splinter's origin?
Yeah.
he has the same origin.
So April O'Neil was taking care of Splinter?
I'm trying not to spoil,
Okay.
but I mean the stuff with the Foot Clan, I was okay with that. I liked the Foot Clan initially.
I've heard
Then
everything with the turtles in it. It's pretty awesome.
the Foot Clan started to get weaker as they went on.
I
But
felt like the Foot Clan had very little presence in this movie. Actually, it felt like they were more like just regular thugs.
well, that's what I'm saying. Initially, there was this whole story about how the Foot Clan's taking over New York, and you see the Foot Clan actually in the middle of a crime, and the Turtles thwart them, and all of this. As that was going on, I enjoyed the Foot Clan, but it was when they introduced what's the bad guy's name?
Shredder.
Shredder. When they introduced Shredder, then the Foot Clan started to take a back seat, and they became less important to the point of being unimportant. And then it was all about Shredder. But they show Shredder to be a badass, which in terms of his fighting when he had no armor and anything on, I thought that was pretty cool. The thing where they introduce you to Shredder, Dave.
The
Um,
only time you see him out of armor.
Well, that is true.
And I hear the rumor
Except
was
for when he's talking to another character.
Mm.
Um, what are you saying, Brian?
I would say that I heard that they did a lot of reshoots in this movie, and one of them was they got rid of the white dude, the main bad guy, as being the Shredder, and brought back in the Japanese storyline.
I would say that is probably 100% true, because this movie, the story of Shredder and Shredder's use in the film is very questionable as far tacked on. Yeah, that because like we just finished saying, it's like most of Shredder in this movie is a CG creation.
when he's in the armor.
Yeah, which is almost like 99% of the time.
Why is he in the armor?
That's the Shredder outfit. I mean,
Because
that's
they created armor for him.
Okay.
yeah.
And then he became a Switchblade?
Yeah, pretty much. But not to derail what you were saying here, James. But I mean, it's just the stuff. William Fichtner, who is the white guy, I guess is what we're calling him, is he still a bad guy in the film? But he's clearly not the Shredder. And I'm wondering, they must have changed it because of the bad press that they were getting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look.
He was originally announced as Shredder.
And I think he originally said he was in an interview.
That's what Davis said.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but they changed it, and I mean, if you know that going in, you can totally tell that they changed it mid-production.
I didn't know that going in, but now that you tell me, I can see it. I can see that was probably how it was originally.
Because once they introduced Shredder, he really has almost nothing to do in the film. Everything he does, Shredder should have been able to do on his own.
Mm.
Like their partnership made no sense.
Mm. Agree. But
okay, go ahead.
So I'm just gonna say, the movie has a lot of faults, but first of all, I saw it in 3D. I only saw it in 3D because that was the time that fit into my schedule. The 3D showing was the time that fit into my schedule. So I saw it in 3D, and actually, this has very, very good 3D.
Wow.
The opening sequence, that's kind of the cel-shaded animation, that's kind of floating through visual space. Excellent 3D. And then, like I was like, I bet that's the only 3D in the movie. And then, like, the action scenes are clearly in good 3D. Like this is a good 3D movie. And talking about the action scenes, I liked most of them. There was an action scene, and I cannot give you a lot of details about it because my eyelids got heavy. But other than that, most of the action in this movie I did like.
That's about the only thing I could probably disagree about a little bit. I actually found the action in this movie to be a little bit dull. I can't really put my finger on it. It was clearly it was shot well. You could see what was going on. The effects were well done, and just I don't know. It just didn't do anything for me for some reason.
Well, see, I'm feeling like maybe the 3D put it over the edge for me because I'm agreeing with everything that you're saying, that it was shot well, the good effects, like good visual, like CG and stuff. So you're going to say something. Go ahead.
Although I did like the final confrontation on the rooftop. I thought that was a really well done scene.
Agreed here. Yeah.
But the stuff like going down the mountainside and everything like that, I think it was a little bordered a little bit too much on the cartoony side for me.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, because the going down the mountainside, well, you've got to have a certain suspension of disbelief because the end of that scene is everybody dies.
But the way like that trailer was like swinging back and forth, like it wasn't just like swinging like a trailer would, like it was whipping, like really just crazy like, and I don't know.
I get it. I mean, like I said, that's part of my suspension of disbelief point.
But yeah. But all in all, I thought the action was well executed, I guess, for the most part.
I have a final question for you guys when you guys are almost done.
Go ahead.
You guys are almost done?
I am done.
I might have a couple things to add, but go ahead.
No, go ahead, Adam, Dave, and then I'll tell you.
Okay. I just wanted to definitely reiterate what James said about Megan Fox. James says that she didn't add anything to the movie. I would actually argue that she takes away from the movie. And I'm pretty sure James would agree with me on that.
I do.
Her as the actress or as the character?
Both.
They're one and the same.
There's like two scenes in this movie where she is supposed to be acting manic and crazy, and there's like this reaction from her roommate, and the roommate nails it.
Yes.
But Megan Fox trying to act manic and crazy completely fails. And I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt for this, because other than Transformers, I didn't really have much exposure to anything else she's done. And so I was like, all right, you know what? Now's your chance. Like, you're going to be the main human character in this. Like, show us what you got. And if this is all she has, then I don't ever need to see anything of her she's in ever again. So,
well, I disagree. Unless it's a movie about the ocean and bikinis.
Where she's like leaning out of the window of trucks with a long shot of her butt. But I'm gonna also agree that the turtles were probably my favorite thing in this movie. I mean, my backstory, my history with the turtles. I actually, saw the animated series when it aired during the '80s, and enjoyed it. And I saw all the original 3 live action films. To this day, I still really like the first one. And the second one, not so much, and the third one was just atrocious. So, I mean, I definitely had a lot of exposure to the turtles and whatnot. And I think for the most part, I mean, given my history with them, they stayed pretty much true to what I remembered. I don't hold the turtles mythology with any great reverence or anything like that. So like James said, the fact that they went the extra mile with the origin story, I liked it, but I don't think it would have affected my enjoyment of the movie one way or the other. This isn't something like if they changed the origin story of Batman or something like that, I'd be people would be up in arms. I didn't really care one way or the other if they messed any of this stuff up. I was more interested in just being entertained, and for the most part, the turtle characters entertained me. The banter between them was entertaining. Like James said, each of them have distinct personalities, and they pretty much nailed all of them. And honestly, my favorite scene in this whole movie is the elevator scene, James.
Agreed. That was awesome.
That was the best scene in the movie, and unfortunately, it's ruined in the trailers.
Is it really?
Yeah, they actually have a full clip of it out there online that you can watch the entire elevator scene. So if you don't want to go out and watch the movie, if you want to see the best scene in the movie, just go online and look up the elevator scene, and you'll see the best scene in the movie. But yeah, when they're going in that elevator up to the final fight, that was like total nostalgia for me. That was what I remembered the turtles being like. They're going out getting ready to fight something in certain doom, and they're just they are teenagers. They're just really hyper and just want to party. So it's just this movie worked a lot better than I thought it was going to be, but I still have reservations about recommending it myself. I would say wait for it to hit home video. It was, like I said, it had entertaining qualities to it, but for the most part, it didn't really do anything spectacular for me. So, I don't know. How about you, James?
Here's my question. What's a better movie, Transformers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Turtles.
Okay. Dave, you should go out with the original Turtle score from the animated show. And by the way, is that in the movie at all?
No.
Oh.
No. And they only say Cowabunga one time.
Twice.
Which apparently
I
don't really care. They say it twice? Okay. I don't really care, but apparently there's people on the internet, the fanboys are kind of pissed by it. So I'm like, I don't care, but apparently some people do.
The first time they said it, they even referenced something like, "Let's do it old school," and then he says "Cowabunga." Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, if you're going to make a big deal about that, then you're going to complain that April O'Neil doesn't have a yellow jacket or a jumpsuit.
Yeah, exactly. And even in the original live action movie, she only had the yellow jacket for like one scene, and then she never had it anymore. But I was going to say, what did you think about the product placement, James?
Oh, what product placement? Oh my God. Oh, okay. When I you triggered something. When I came back to work on Monday and told like people would say, "Hey, what did you watch this week?" I said, "I watched Mutant Ninja Turtles." I had to talk about that was the single most blatant product placement I have seen in any movie ever. And Transformers is bad about it.
Yes.
The thing about Transformers is at least some of those products were like Chinese products, and so they were doing product placement, and we, the American audience, weren't quite aware of it. Although I've heard that even the Chinese market is having some backlash at the overt product placement in Transformers.
Well, that and the Bud Light stuff also from Transformers 4. That stuck with me.
Right.
But the one in this one I think is just a bit worse.
So to explain, let's just say that the Turtles have gotten into trouble with Splinter, and Splinter is having them each do like some kind of acrobatic thing as punishment, and in the meantime he's trying to pull out the information because they're keeping a secret from him. He's trying to pull the information from them, and his final way of kind of torturing them is they're all standing in a circle doing these torturous activities. You
gotta set the stage here. It's like a circular room. Yeah. It's like dark all around, and like the Holy Grail, like sort of like in the middle, like there's a shining light coming down onto this pillar in the middle.
And to torture them, he puts a Pizza Hut box right in the middle. It's taking up literally like 75% of the screen real estate. You see this huge pizza box right in the middle of the screen, and they just linger on it until finally he opens the pizza box, and there's a an all cheese pizza in there. Now the thing that I was thankful for was at least it wasn't a real product, because he said it was something like the new 100 cheese pizza. And he starts naming off the different cheeses.
Yeah.
So obviously that's something that doesn't exist. But yeah, and then he pulls off a slice and he's waving it under their noses, and it's like, this is the most.
How did that work in 3D when he's like pulling the pizza right to the screen? Did you see people in the audience trying to bite it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It was like the next 3 minutes will be our commercial for Pizza Hut. They might as well have flashed that on the screen.
They could literally rip that scene out and throw it on the TV, and that's their Pizza Hut ad.
Absolutely, verbatim, point blank. But it would be a long commercial. It'd be like a 3 minute.
Yeah.
But what about the Victoria's Secret part?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The end credits scene?
I still don't know what you're talking about.
Did you guys stay for the end credits?
I stayed all the way through. There was nothing at the end.
I thought there was like shells that covered up a certain poster.
Oh, that's not. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
That's at the beginning of the end credits.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. And here's the funny thing: is like in Transformers 4, there was a very blatant Victoria's Secret ad in that as well.
Right.
So, but yeah, they definitely there. Yeah, there was a Victoria's Secret ad at the end.
Yeah, I heard that was like the worst end credit scene ever.
Yeah, and because like when that first started, I was like, oh, they're gonna do this cute little thing where we get to see them jumping around the city and how they hide from people. That was my first thing I thought was gonna happen, but after that scene happened, there was no more. I was like, what was that for?
For product placement.
Exactly.
But it's not done well anyway, because what happened was the credits start naturally. People start getting up, and they're crossing in front of you, and then there's a new scene, and like most people didn't even see that the turtles were kind of on top of the billboard and jumped down to where they jumped down to.
Mm-hmm.
And then people started paying attention, and then the turtles jump away, and so like no one even really gets the joke.
In a way, it's actually kind of meta because the audience reacted the same way the people in the movie did. Where when they looked up to the screen, the turtles were hiding; they didn't see them.
Exactly. That's very. That is the deepest thing that Michael Bay has ever done.
They're like, "Whoa, what, am I supposed to be seeing something here?"
That's like that movie that you and Brian like about the tire.
Rubber.
It's like the audience is the movie.
Yes. That's awesome. Who knew that this movie would have so much deep stuff in it? It's great. So James, would you recommend this to people to see in the theater, or?
I'll do what I did at work, which is if you want to see a comic book type of movie, your only choice is Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm really surprised this movie was not crushed by Guardians. Because, I mean, I honestly, after watching this movie, it just reinforced how much I really loved Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly, yeah.
So. But
that all of that is to say, I didn't dislike it. I would say if you can watch this movie on DVD, or cable or whatever, I would watch it, sure. But there's no rush out to see this movie.
What's your reaction to the announcement of the sequel already?
I didn't know about it.
News
to me. I mean, I'm not surprised at all, but this is the first I'm hearing of it.
2016 release date. It's going to be a June release, I believe. So, but they're making a sequel.
Yay.
So this reboot seems to have worked. We're going to get more turtles.
So Box Office Mojo is showing the production budget at $125 million. It had $65 million opening weekend. I mean, they're going to clear a little bit, but yeah.
They're really going to have to bank on overseas money to get some profit out of it. But
that's why a sequel is a little bit surprising because if this was a clear money, if it opened like Guardians did, if it opened at $95 million and it's going to be on its way to $250, then yeah, $125 is a decent investment. But this thing is going to come around the area of breaking even. So why are they rushing in to make another one?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, the movie opened beyond almost double their predictions for it. So
maybe they're making the announcement so people go out and see it.
That's true.
It's a sequel. Maybe we should go see it.
Showing their support for it.
Right.
Yeah, that could very well be also. I don't know.
Okay, are we done? Because I got to pee.
No, we're not done because I just forgot. Since I looked up the production budget, I actually see some of the credits. And I realized there's something else that was even more worthless than Megan Fox and Will Arnett.
Whoa.
And that would be Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, what did you think I was going to say?
Well, I was going to say Johnny Knoxville.
But we didn't have to see Johnny Knoxville, and I wasn't even really aware which character he was.
He was Leonardo.
I'm talking about Whoopi. She didn't need to be in this movie.
Of all the things to come back in.
Right.
That's weird. Like, I can't think of any association she has with anybody in this movie that she would be even, tapped to be in it. and her character pretty much disappears as soon as she fires April O'Neil.
Well, yeah.
It's like the news aspect is completely gone. It's like there's no more news reporting in this movie. It's like there wasn't even a thing at the end, was there? I don't remember, but there was nothing at the end, right? With April O'Neil being rehired and doing news again.
And I completely expected that.
Yeah.
I expected throughout the movie. Well, once she got fired, I expected there's going to be a scene where she gets rehired. She's going to have some footage or some news about what's happening, and she's going to be rehired. And there's none of that.
And that's because I guess apparently she's supposed to keep the turtles a secret, so there's nothing for her to report on.
Exactly.
But there was plenty to report on. The bad guy that they knocked out.
A building almost fell down. There's plenty.
It's like you were on the building that fell down.
Yes, exactly.
It's like pick the camera and start reporting. But no, apparently she's going to be unemployed. It would have been funny if they would have shown her to be a blogger or something at the end. Been great. But that's right, though. Jeez. Whoopi Goldberg. Crazy.
So now I'm done.
Okay. All right. So in trying to get Brian to the toilet as quickly as possible here.
Yeah, he's gone already.
Oh, is he? Well,
the moment I said I have one more thing, he threw down the headset and took off.
That's awesome. So we've got a bevy of movies this week, but none of them are things I think that really jump out to us. So I'm just going to ask you, James, what of this list is standing out to you that you even want to see?
I plan on seeing Let's Be Cops.
Okay.
But I don't even know what the rest of it is. What's the rest of the list?
The Expendables 3?
Nope.
No, you're just calling it out this time, huh? You're like, no way. Okay. And have you still have not seen a trailer for The Giver yet?
I have, yes. I didn't know that it was called The Giver.
Okay. So, I don't know. I think I'm definitely going to see Let's Be Cops as well, but I'm also going to see Expendables 3. So.
What about you, Brian?
0.
Okay.
I'm still kind of in medium state. I'm doing much better than I did last week, but maybe I can't drive or do anything right now.
Maybe you can catch up on some home movies.
Well, that's what I've been doing. I actually saw 42.
Oh, okay. That's a good one to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know if it was a great movie or anything, but it kind of was interesting in regard to the racism back then, how bad it was, especially when that coach.
The coach, yeah.
Yeah. Dale, I call him.
The movie is entirely about racism.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, he went through the worst part of it just because, I mean, he was in the public eye at that point. And it's kind of I was more shocked by how good Harrison Ford was in the movie. But I think that might have been one of the first movies I ever seen him in where he actually had a different accent and everything going on with him.
The thing I took away from that movie mostly was the fact that it was good to see Harrison Ford in a good role again.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually talked to people who didn't realize that was Harrison Ford.
Oh my gosh.
Was it because he was actually, did like a good job?
I don't know what the reason was.
Okay. They're like, whoa, Harrison Ford, that's right, he acts. It's crazy. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, maybe you can. There's some more you can catch up on, Brian, that you haven't seen that you've been wanting to see, and we can talk about it next week.
Has anybody started watching The Leftovers yet?
I'm all the way caught up. I watch it every week.
Okay, it's good, right?
Have you watched it?
I got to catch up.
Okay.
And at 24, were there only 12 episodes, or were there more?
12.
There were 12.
Okay. I'm in a tough situation with that show, because my wife never seen the original show, so I don't know if I should show her the original ones before going to this, but that's a lot of seasons. Or should I just jump into this right away?
You could probably jump into it. Yeah, but you're jumping ahead into the absurdity pretty quick. Whereas with starting from season 1, it's a gradual build.
Right.
Like this is like jumping into like Jack Bauer's Superhuman style already.
I jumped into like season 3 or season 4 myself.
Hmm.
I think
You
when
never saw season 1?
What?
You never saw season 1?
No, I saw parts of season 1 on like Netflix.
It's going to be hard to do because, in comparison, season 1 would be extremely boring, I would imagine.
It's a lot slower. Now, I mean, I always joke about Jack Bauer having a heart attack in each episode. You know, it's like back then, he had a heart attack maybe like once during the entire season. So
only one.
The thing is, though, that in the first season they really played up the fact that time was literal, like. Every minute of the show is a minute of real life. And so you would see them like waiting at a stoplight and doing stuff like that.
And time actually affected the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like there would be moments where Jack Bauer would actually get tired and actually shut his eyes and sleep for a little bit. Like now, like I said, he's superhuman. Like It's like 24 hours? Psh, who needs sleep?
But this season's only 12 hours, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
More or less.
Oh boy, spoiler. Thanks, James.
But I gotta say also, since we're talking TV, if you guys haven't started watching it yet, I would highly recommend The Strain, the new Guillermo del Toro produced show.
Is this first season?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's like 5 episodes in right now. And thus far, it's really good, and it's also really gory for a television series. So,
is that on the El Rey network?
No. Damn, I'm trying to think of what network it is.
It's on FX.
It's FX? Okay, yeah. I knew it was one of the cable channels. So, but yeah, that so far is proving to be really good. So,
there's a lot of good shows coming on that I noticed. Oh, and I started watching Once Upon a Time because my wife found out that the Frozen characters are going to be on it next season. So now she wants to start watching that show.
It was the spoiler for the very last image of this past season.
Just goes to show you, Disney knows they have a gold mine with that Frozen. They're going to stick Frozen in everything.
Yeah, you know,
people are going to flock to it.
James, do you remember that Norway ride in Epcot Center? The trolls and everything?
Yes.
2 more years will be your Frozen ride. Guarantee it. There's always heavy rumors on it already.
Oh my God. Well, let me end this so we can be done. So yeah, like usual, you can get any of our past episodes through the iTunes feed, which you can find on the website, which is lightsremoteaction.com. And you can always go back and watch any of our old video reviews on our YouTube channel as well. But we'll be back next week. I guess Let's Be Cops is going to be the main one that at least James and I are going to be seeing. I'm probably going to go solo on Expendables 3, so I'll have a review for that as well. But yeah, that's going to be it. Summer's winding down. We're almost done, so don't expect too many big movies to be coming out.
That's an interesting word to use, Dave. Spoilers.
What do you mean?
Almost done. Anyway.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
Okay. All right. But anyways, everybody out there, take care. Have a good week, and we'll see you later.